Hello guys, and welcome to my kitchen in Sweden. I'm going to age some paper and envelopes tonight, so I turn on the camera so you can follow me and see what I'm doing. But first I want to show you another thing. I got all these old boxes with buttons, and yesterday I realized I'd had a lot of these old pieces of labels. So now I have done a copy of them. I'm going to show you how they look like when I have them on paper. So kind of like this, maybe put it this way. So these will be really cute in the journals. I have just copied them from these original labels. So that will be fun. And I have done one on white, and I have also put one on coffee dyed paper. This is a little thinner, but it's still really nice. So in the boxes it was all these really old buttons. So I thought I could do a few of those from some old boxes, and then make my own button holders. So I need to age some papers and some cardboard so that we can make our own beautiful labels. I have my tripod in one of my drawers so that I can have you in the right angle. So I have prepared with putting some coffee in a container. I'm going to just zoom you out, maybe, if I can manage. So in this container I have coffee and water, and we are going to use that. And then I have my iron, so I'm going to dry them right away. And the things that I'm going to age is cardboard. I have a few envelopes and some papers. So different things to use up and make a little older. So let's start with the dyeing. Just going to check so we have the right angle. Maybe I should move you a little bit more, like that, like so. So let's start with some simple, just a paper. And when I dry them, I'm using a parchment paper, so it won't get stuck on my iron. To get the paper as natural as possible, I have 1 part coffee and 2 parts water. And then I'm just putting my paper through the coffee. So you can see it's not so much. But actually old paper is often just kind of yellowish. So to coffee dye them really brown, it's not what I'm looking for. I want a natural kind of yellowish tone, and maybe with some spots on them. Then I'm just putting them on one of my sheets that will get this nice yellow spots from the coffee. Then I have a bottle, spray bottle with some darker coffee, and I'm just spraying that onto the paper on different places, so it will be some kind of different shades. Then I'm putting on my parchment paper and start drying the paper. You can do it right away, and you can do it by putting it on the floor or on a table and let it dry by itself. But I kind of like this feeling that I want to have all of it at least wet, because it gets its special feeling when it has been in some kind of liquid. So then I'm just drying it until it feels flat and dry. It often gets like this when you have ironed it, so it's not totally flat. So when I have done all of these things and they are dry but still want to peek up or bend, I put them under a heavy book or something that will keep them flat overnight. Let's iron this too before we look at the result and compare with the white paper. I like the dark coffee dyed too for some things, but I often like this kind of natural yellowish tone that old papers have. Do like this so you might see better. Now you can see they're slight different, and this is more like spotty and partly yellowish. And you have this nice crunchy feeling. And this is the other one. And sometimes I like to get kind of just the edge a little bit more color. So then I'm just dipping the edge and dry it again. then we get a darker edge on the paper. And that makes a really natural look. I'm hurried to dry so it won't keep going up onto the paper. I just want it on the edge. Now you can see that the edges are darker. I have kind of bad light in my kitchen, so, but we still can see the difference. So that's how I do my papers. And let's go for some envelopes. So when you do envelopes, you need to make sure that you open the envelope up like this, because if it's glued for just being wet and to put down, it will glue together. So if you want to be able to open it, then you need to keep it like this when you color it or dyeing it. So I'm doing the same with this one, dipping it in here and there, and then put it on my table. And dry it. These are a kind of a little bit more yellowish from the start. So we might need to get a little bit more of the darker color. And I'm keeping it to the edge. It takes some time to do this, but when I'm in a hurry, I put big sheets of plastic on the floor and kind of dips maybe 50 papers and leave them to dry overnight by my fireplace. And then I can iron them the next day. So now it's easier to see that it has darkened the edge a bit more. And that's more natural, because when you put it in heavy coffee, you get a not so natural color. It's beautiful with the dark coffee dyed, but as I'm going for the actual color that it has, I like this better. Then to make it a bit more special, you can just use kind of a glass and then maybe do some patterns on it, so it looks like you have had something standing on it. Made it a bit more dark. So now it looks like we have had it on the table and accidentally got coffee in it. So that can be fun. You can do the same with the papers that you have colored already. You can take a bit more of the coffee. That you don't have any water in, so this is just coffee. So then I'm just taking my fingers and splashing a few dots on it. So it looks like by accident got some more coffee on it. Or something else. Tea. Or if it's a love letter, you maybe can think that it's some perfume that the lady has splattered onto the letter. So when I have copied out these, I often do like this. I take copies of my old books. This is the inside cover of some of my really old books. And then they get this typical aged look, and it's more natural to use it in my antique journals. If you can hear something that sounds a little mystical, it's Nico. He is looking out on our porch and he can see a little mouse that is temporarily living there. So he is watching the little mouse when she peeks out, and he gets excited. So if it starts yelling, you know what it is. I have tried to avoid it by pulling the curtains for the windows, but he peeks through them and can see the little mouse. I haven't trapped her yet. I am giving her a chance to move somewhere else before I do something more about it. Let's take another envelope. We have another kind that is a bit bigger. And these I'm going to leave like this, because when I'm going to use them, I want to cut them up as it was an old one. So that I'm not going to put it like a flip or anything. I just want it as an old letter that is been opened in the mail. So I'm going to just wet this part and glue it down. Then I'm just putting it in the water. When you do this, make sure that you go from one side to the other, because it gets air captured into the envelope. So be careful so you don't make it explode in one of the edges. Bit more on that side. In this one it's 50-50 with coffee and water, and that one is 1 part coffee and 2 parts of water, and in the glass is just coffee. So I have 3 different strengths on the coffee, so that I can do different things with my. So then I can just take a knife and open it like it has been in the mail. So it gets a bit roughly opened, like that. And sometimes I just even make it more rough. Like you have opened it in a hurry. Then I actually think I want to put it somewhere in the coffee. Maybe I need to do like this. Looks like I have been open it a lot of times, and it got a bit dirty. Like that. So then we are going to take pieces of the cardboard and age that too a little bit. So this is the original old cardboard. So you can see it's a bit filled with spots, and so if you see this by the white paper, you can see it's a big difference. So this is also a old piece of cardboard, but I want to age it a bit more. So I'm just going to open it in the corners so I can flat it out like this. So we can use it for some labels. This is so old, so you can easily break it like this. So to get it to look more like this, I'm going to do the same thing. First of all, put it in the light coffee and dry it. And I'm taking my middle-aged coffee and put it on randomly. By using the parchment paper, it will make the coffee more even on the paper. So if you want more spots, leave it to dry without fast dry it like I did now. So now you can see we start getting this darker color. I think I want one more. You can have a parchment paper over and under, then it won't soak up the coffee by the textile. Now we start getting this old look that it has been in a place where it's a bit moist and old. I will show you these after the recording in my craft room, so you can see it in the light properly. Then I'm just splashing on some dots of coffee. So now you can see it's more like this one in the color. It looks more old. Than the white paper. So let's do the same with the old one. Kind of like this. Splashing on some coffee. It will probably soak up more when it's old. The paper is old and dry, so you might go lighter to begin and then move to darker when you need it. These are also thick, so it will take a bit of time to see the result. You need to dry it longer than the thin paper. you can already now see that it's taking on the coffee. And now I'm going for some splash. Not too many, still needs to be natural. Like I have just made a mess by mistake. I'm leaving that to soak a little bit, as these are thicker. If I put my parchment paper on it right away now, it will smash it out, and I want these dots to be more like they are at the moment. So instead of the parchment paper, I'm just putting a piece of ordinary kitchen towel paper, and then it soak up the moist and leave it like this instead of smashing it out with the parchment paper like it did on this one. Here you can see you don't have any clear dots like it will be on these. Now you can see the dots are more exactly where I put them. So you can do this with the envelopes too. If you're going for just a few dots like this. So then we leave it a few seconds so the paper can soak it up, and then you will get exactly the dots as they are. So you get them. Now these are much lighter, but you know my point, and I don't want them to be so dark. I want it to look like it's a little mess. So then when you have got these dots, you can just kind of make some rough pieces of labels. Like this. Then you can write something, or you can take the copies and put them on, and then it looks like it's the old piece of the packaging. I'm doing the same with the new paper that we put coffee on. So I roughly doing the same with this one. Not anything neat at all, just ripping off the edges so we don't get any straight edges of it. And we have this dark edge on the old labels, as this is another kind of cardboard that are a bit more old time. So now I'm going for the same on the edges with the coffee. I think I need to take another piece of plate so we can put the coffee like that. So now I'm just leaving the edges to soak. For a few seconds. And then I'm going with the parchment paper again and drying it. And if you think it's too light, you can just repeat it until it's as dark as you want it. And if you want it even darker, if you can't seem to get this, then you can just take some dried coffee, instant coffee, and make it darker. Then you will surely get, I think I actually want to have this smaller. Then I'm doing the same thing, putting it into the instant coffee. And then you instantly will get darker edges. Now I'm putting it straight onto the textile so it will soak up the coffee that we don't want to have on the label, just on the edge. So now we can compare, and you can see that they are, to put it on white paper so you can see a bit better to the background. So the one up, this one on the top is the old one, and the other one is the one I did now. So you can see we start to getting there. To fool the eye that it's old, originally old. So I will take you to my craft table and show you the result in the real light, and also make a couple of labels so that you can see what I'm aiming for. So see you in a few seconds. I'm back at my craft table, and now I can show you the differences between the papers a bit better when we have a nice light. So now you can see it's not brown, it's just kind of old yellowish. This one is even lighter. And then we have the envelope. Looks like this, with the aged edge. And some of these moist spots on it. And the paper with the splashes on. And the first envelope that we dyed. This was a bit ecru light yellowish before we coffee dyed it too, so now it have this spots and different places on it where it's darker and lighter. So I think those turned out nice. So now I have cut out a few of these labels that I have copied from my stash, and we will use them to do some old looking labels, like we have ripped them from the cardboard, like we have this original piece. So I will just take a little bit of distress ink on the white edge. Nothing dark, just some antique linen to cover up the white space. I want to thank you all for your kind comments about my arm. I have been to the doctor today, and I won't need to do any surgery. My biceps was not of any kind of hurt, just so I just need to do some training, physical therapy, and hopefully it will heal by itself. So that's nice. I don't need to have any recovery for about 6 months, as a surgery would need. So I'm happy for that. So now we can continue to craft, and I will hopefully be back to normal in 6 months or so. So that was a nice result of the trip to the near town to get examined. So now it's inspiring to craft. I know that I don't need to be away from my craft anytime. So let's see if we can glue this down. Hopefully I will soon be able to do some digitals from this. I need to sit down and just do it. I'm not so technical, so it will take me a few days, but I surely need to try now. There is a lot of you that are asking for my old papers and stuff for your journals, so I will really try to soon get it done. Hopefully I can get some advices how I will do it the most easily way, so it don't need to take me weeks at least. I guess it's mostly because I'm not interested in computers and stuff like that. And that's why it's so hard to learn and get it to stay in my brain. I actually is a crafter, not a computer technical kind of girl. So, but I will try, and I have done it once before with my eco-dyed paper, so I guess I just have to get it done. So we have a couple of pieces that I didn't have any of these backgrounds for, so I thought we could do another thing. We will put them down on some craft paper and do another kind of labels. I think that can be nice too. Thought that we could maybe make them look like they have been ripped off some packaging. Yes, we have. Then let's find a couple of old stamps. Let's see if we can give them a little extra. really like this. So fun to play with these old stamps. So a close-up. So what do we think? Nice. I think I like it. So that was my tip of the day, how to age the paper so it looks natural and actually old. Thank you for watching, and see you soon again. Bye bye from Sweden.